My pranams to all Atma Jyotis, divine light of the self. I welcome all of you for today's session of Mandukya Karika. Let us offer our pranams to Guru Parampara. Sadashiva Samarambam, Shankaracharya Madhyamam, Asmadacharya Paryantam, Vande Guru Parampara, Shruti Smriti Purananam, Alayam, Karunalayam, Namami, Bhagavat Padam, Shankaram, Lokashankaram. I welcome all of you for today's session of Mandukya Karika. Mandukya Karika starts with the statement, I am Mandukya Upanishad starts with the statement, I am Atma Brahma, myself is Brahman. So whenever we say self, always there's a sense of individuality. Myself, yourself, herself. Okay. So now this self seems to be very individual. It's personal. So immediately Rishi says, this self is not personal, self is universal. I am Atma Brahma. Myself is self of all. So now the Brahma, the concept of Brahma brings in this self is not only for living, non-living also. Jiva and Jada. So that's why the definition of Brahman is Yadbhutam Echa Bhavishyati. Whatever is in the past, whatever is in the present, whatever is see. The entire universe we are dividing into Jiva and Jada and Jada and Chaitanya. Living and non-living. Whenever you speak of self, always a reference to living, myself. So myself is a personal self. So the personal self is also universal self. That's being brought in, I am Atma Brahma. Otherwise, we are living in the illusion, myself, I am an individual self. The Mandukya Upanishad, Mandukya Karika is trying to remove the concept of sense of individuality, which is false. Totally. Not even little bit of clarity is there, little bit reality is there in that, individual self. We are living in an illusion of individual self. That is being removed. So that's where Upanishad takes us points to us so we have three states of consciousness individual. All of us think that we think of individual state of consciousness, waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. So in the deep sleep, I am there. So the deep sleep, when I say I am always referring that the word I in Sanskrit is called Atma. In the waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. In deep sleep state, what Atma is there is not a seer, not a doer, not an enjoyer. Akarta, not a doer. Abhokta, not an enjoyer. And not a knower also. That's your state in deep sleep. And that is called Pratyagatma. Now you can Pratyagatma, you can relate to yourself because what I was in deep sleep is that. Upanishad is not telling you something is not in your experience. Your own experience of deep sleep, personal I. Pratyagatma means personal I, in a sense. Pratyagatma, personal I in deep sleep is there. Personal I is there in deep sleep, which you can relate now. That's called Pratyagatma. So now, what you don't know, your personal I is a universal I. You don't know. So that's why I am Atma Brahma is told. Okay, I am Atma Brahma is told. Your personal I is universal I is being told. Universal self. The moment I say universal self, you say there are living beings and non-living beings. How can you bring living beings and non-living beings? So that's why the living beings has an ability called knowership. Knowing is the ability of living beings. So first, the knowing ability of living beings brought in the form of Prajna, Taijasa, and Vaishwanara. Universal knower is brought in. Then the universal knower is also with the world. Then universal individual I becomes individual I is universal I, and universal I is universal existence, universal consciousness. So step by step, progressively, Jiva hood is removed, individuality is removed. So the deep sleep I, Pratyagatma, is there in the waking state and dreaming state also. This we don't know. I don't know. That same Atma is there in the waking state and dream state. It's not our knowledge. I am very peaceful in deep sleep, blissful in deep sleep. In the waking state, I am disturbed. My dear, your state has not changed. In the waking state, dream state, deep sleep, Atma has not changed. Your innermost self has not changed. Your personal I is not changed. That I don't know. What has happened to me? A small I, ego, which we call Jiva, and variety of world has come into picture in the waking state. The I remains same. Pratyagatma remains same. Jagat and Jiva. Jiva is superimposition. Jagat is the world. Both have appeared in the waking state. So now I lost my peace. So this is superimposed on me. So when when I put a glasses, the world is appearing to me. I forget red glasses, the world is appearing red. So Jiva, Pratyagatma is a potential knower. Why is potential knower? In deep sleep, Pratyagatma is Prajna is a potential knower. In deep sleep, there's no ability to know anything. Instrument of knowledge is not there. Dormant condition. In the waking state, it appears. So that's where in the waking state, there's a superimposition on the Pratyagatma. What is superimposition? The Jiva, which is body and mind, and the world. So there is peace is lost. But Upanishad is saying your Pratyagatma is same in all the states, waking state, dream state, deep state. It's like a background. So recognizing the Pratyagatma in the waking state, dream state, deep sleep is very important for us. How do you recognize that? In the waking state, you have a waking body, waking mind, and waker world. Notice carefully, everything is changing. The waker body, waker mind, waker intellect, and waker world is changing, constantly changing. But always you refer I. I was born, I grew up, I got married, I became old. All these are with respect to body. Body has changed, but I has not changed. What is that unchanging I? That unchanging I is Pratyagatma. There's some unchanging I you and changing you. Changing you is called Jiva. It constantly undergoes changes. So, but what are you? You are a combination of Jiva Atma, unchanging Atma plus Jiva. The unchanging Atma is called Pratyagatma. The unchanging is always there constantly, and you are forgetting it. So I say, I went there, I came here. Went there, came here, body position has changed, but I has not changed. I. What is that unchanging I? Pratyagatma, innermost self. What is the nature of innermost self? Again, it's very, very clear. It's not a seer, not a doer, not a knower. Same as deep sleep state. The same Pratyagatma is in the waking state also. That's evident in your talks. But you confuse the Pratyagatma when you say, I woke up, I came, I went there, I came here, I grew up, I became old. The old changes of going here and there, all these things are supreme Pratyagatma, unchanging reality. Changing and unchanging is getting mixed up in our thought process. Is it clear to you what I'm saying? Are you able to understand? I'm saying you are changing and unchanging, you are mixing up. That unchanging Atma is called Pratyagatma. Now you say, it's only for me. I am referring to I. So this Pratyagatma is not you, individual, it's universal. When you say I say I, and you say I, that individual I is not, it's not about individual I, it's not a personal I, it's a universal I, each of us are referring. That's why Pratyagatma is Brahman, it's not individual, it's universal. So to bring that concept of universality, instead of Jiva, we are using the word called Deva. Deva is universal, Jiva is individual. We have an illusion of individuality. So that illusion of individuality is brought in, removed through a concept called Deva. So when you say personal I, that personal I is not personal I, unchanging I. Changing I is personal. Changing I is personal to you, the body and mind, Jiva. But unchanging I is not personal. That unchanging I is Pratyagatma. It is not personal. Pratyagatma means my innermost self. That means personal I. The personal I, personality is removed by saying it's universal. It's Deva. Are you clear? So Deva concept is brought in to remove the Jiva concept, which is personal. So you say, I am okay, I was born. When I was born 2 feet tall, now I am 5 feet. I'm becoming old. With respect to body is changing, but I is not changing. Then you say it's my personal life. It's my personal life. My dear sir, your personal life is not your personal life. It's universal life. It's impersonal life. That's why Deva concept is brought. Constantly your mind is stuck with personal life. There's nothing personal about you. That I, which is a universal background of all living beings, I. So now what we do, because we treat personal I as real, we treat other person as something different from me. Because we are referring to other person only as the body, personal life, which is body and mind. Really, he is the impersonal life, which is same to you. He is not different from you. He is same, he or she is same as you. When that happens, when you recognize your personal I is constantly changing, the body is changing, mind is changing, Jiva is changing, because Jiva is a reflection in the body-mind complex. It's changing. Whereas the essential nature of Jiva, I, doesn't change, which is Atma. That's why we always have to refer to Jivatma. And we forget Atma and refer to Jiva only. So whenever you speak of I, you are referring to unchanging I. That unchanging I is called Deva. Is that clear? If you say my I, it's personal. If my I is same as your I, it's impersonal. It's universal. Deva. Unchanging I in me is personal I, Pratyagatma. Pratyagatma is my I, personal I. My personal I is universal I. It's not just personal. That's why Pratyagatma is Brahman. I am Atma, Brahman. Personality is removed. So otherwise, you have a sense of personality, individuality. See, when I say, I point out to you, my dear sir, when you say you are born, you are 2 feet tall. Now you become 5 feet tall. You say, I was born, I grew up. Then I is not changed, right? So then, because your I is not changed, you have a sense of unchanging I in you, unchanging personal life. So Pratyagatma. But always you confuse the unchanging personal life with the body mind which is changing. So then who are you? I am the body, you'll say. Even though deep inside you know you are unchanging I, Pratyagatma. So then you have a sense of unchanging I in you, which is individualized to you, personalized to you, but still unchanging, Satya. Then immediately that Satya is not just personal to you, it's universal. It's called Deva. Is Jiva and Deva concept clear? Pratyagatma is clear? Yes or no? The I which is common to all is Brahman. So now to bring that, we are removing the concept of individuality. We are bringing the concept of Jiva to Deva. So Jiva, you are saying experiencer, right? So Deva is also experiencer, cosmic experiencer. Okay. So that concept we are bringing in. Pratyeka Atma is Brahman, universal. Jiva is experiencer who is changing. So Deva is the collection of all Jivas. It's a totality. Okay. So that is being brought in the concept of Deva. So please understand, step by step, your individuality, whatever sense of individuality you are feeling is being removed. Not at all. So just as a reminder for all of you, I am Jivatma. Jivatma is Jiva plus Atma. Please remember, Atma is Pratyekatma here. Okay. Atma is the innermost self. Pratyekatma. I am not even realized I am the universal self. Universal self is called Paramatma. Jiva is Buddhi plus Chidabhasa. Reflected consciousness in Buddhi. That's Vijnanamaya Kosha. Reflection is in Vijnanamaya Kosha. Jivatma is Buddhi plus Chidabhasa plus Atma. So example is Atma is like electricity. Jiva is like a bulb. So Atma is there in everybody. Okay. The Atma is unchanging. So you are referring to unchanging Atma in me. I, when you say you are changing it to unchanging Atma. So that unchanging Atma is not just for you, it's universal. It's called Paramatma. Okay. So that I, when you refer, it's called Pratyekatma, your innermost self, because it's person-like. Pratyekatma means person-like. Person-like which is unchanging. So now what is the nature of person-like? Unchanging. It's not a doer, not an enjoyer, not a knower. It's not a doer, not an enjoyer, not a knower. That status doesn't change in the waking state also. Not a doer, not an enjoyer, not a knower is always there in the waking state also. So in the waking state, dream state, deep sleep state, three consciousness appears in three ways: Vishwa, Taijasa, and Pradna. Vishwa is the extroverted knower. Taijasa is the introverted knower. And Pradna is the covert knower. Is a mass of consciousness. So now here we are speaking of a consciousness. Vishwa, Taijasa, Pradna. Which is not at all personal to you. In the waking state, lot of people are appearing, lot of waking jivas are appearing. Living beings are there, lot of living beings are there. Like me. Now I am speaking of, I am an individual. What is being pointed is the consciousness which is common to all of them. That consciousness which is common to all of them is called Vishwadeva or Vaishwanara. What you call yourself as a body is just nothing but a mud doll made up of 5 elements. That is animated by universal consciousness, not personal. The universal consciousness is responsible for waking state activity of all jivas. Breathing, seeing, hearing, touching, all those things is called Vaishwanara Deva. It is nothing personal. So you have a sense of personal I. Where is your sense of personal I? No. Now, what is the just like your body is this, your body is this. The Vaishwanara Deva gross body is gross body of all living beings. Now you tell me, where is your personal life? You are eating, drinking, sleeping, or functioning of eyes, functioning of ears. Everything is because of Vaishwana Deva, universal consciousness. The consciousness is not personal to you. Consciousness is universal. And what is the nature of this consciousness? It is the knower, Bahish Pradnaha. Is the knower of external world. Right? Now the problem is the consciousness being universal, there's nothing external, internal. But that appears to be external to you because the consciousness operating through Jiva seems to be splitting the world into external and internal due to ignorance. So that's why Jiva superimposed with the Vaishwanara. Jiva is one with the Vaishwanara. Jiva is placed in the Vaishwanara. Vaishwanara has no ignorance because Vaishwanara is nothing but Virat, totality. Totality, there is no ignorance possible. Jiva is saying, no, you are not individual. Your body consciousness, not your personal consciousness. It's a universal consciousness called Vaishwanara, operating through your body and all other bodies also. That's why you are conscious. Okay. So that Vaishwanara Deva appears to be having an external experience because of Jiva. It's experiencing the world through Jiva. Is this clear? Now, who has ignorance? Instead of Jiva has ignorance, we'll say Vaishwanara has a ignorance, which is not true. Because Vaishwanara is totality. But first, I have to remove the concept of individuality from you. That's why you are a part of the whole universe. All universal bodies are operated by Vaishwanara, not your individual body. Your body is placed in the totality of all living bodies of all living beings. And that's activated by one consciousness called Vaishwanara. Now tell me, you still are individual. So body is just inert, mud element. Consciousness is what you are. The consciousness is not at all individual. It's universal consciousness called Vaishwanara, universal knower. Operating through this body and mind. So Jiva claims that I am the knower. Okay. The knowing is coming from Atma. The knowing, awareness is coming from Atma, appearing as Vaishwanara in the waking state. That's why Prathama Pada, first aspect. Vaishwanara Deva. Deva is brought in to indicate it's universal, not individual. Second aspect is dream state. All the characters in the dream state, all the living beings in the dream state are operated by Taijasa Deva. So dream is your personal dream is there. Some personal vasanas are coming. You think the dream is your personal. But personal consciousness which is eliminating all the jivas is called Taijasa. It's not you. The consciousness is the knower, not you. Consciousness is the knowing principle, not you, individual. So now, knowing principle and knower, you want to know the difference. The knower appears to be individual because what I know, you don't know. I have knowledge of something, you have knowledge of something. You have ignorance of something, I have knowledge of that. So knower seems to be different. But knowing principle is same. The knowing principle appearing in the waking state, a dream state, is called Taijasa. So the personal aspect is what? Knowledge. Specific knowledge. What you are seeing, I am not seeing. What you are hearing, I am not hearing. This knowledge is personal. Knower seems to be personal. But the knower, which is called Jiva, which seems to be personal, the knowing principle is coming from Atma, Pratyagatma, in the form of Taijasa, light. The bulb says, I am giving light in this room. Another bulb says, I am giving light in that room. This room I cannot give light because it's a separate light. Knowledge-wise, knower-wise, there seems to be separation, individuality. But knowing-wise, electricity-wise is same. That light, inner light of Taijasa, which eliminates all living beings in the dream state, is called Taijasa. In deep sleep state, that knowing, illuminating light awareness is called Pradna. So now in pradna, there's no knowing, there's no knowledge possible. Because the one who has knowledge, jiva, the knowing principle called intellect, the instrument of knowledge called intellect has become dormant condition, switched off, mind. So the pradna is the light, awareness. So there's nothing to know, but still he is a knower, is a covert knower, because that same guy becomes Taijasa and Vaishwanara in the waking state. Is a covert knower, hidden knower in the deep sleep state. Now, why we are focusing on knower? Now we are focusing on the living beings in the world. The world has two aspects, Jiva and Jagat. So you say, I am separate from the world because I am conscious and the world is unconscious. I am Chetana and the world is Jada. So all living beings are taken for together as Deva in the three states. Waker consciousness, dreamer consciousness, deep sleep consciousness. Instead of taking Waker Jiva, dreamer Jiva, deep sleep Jiva, Waker consciousness, which is a collective all Jivas, collective consciousness of all Jivas. Dreamer consciousness of collective all consciousness of collective all Jivas. Deep sleep consciousness of collective consciousness of all deep sleep Jivas is called Deva. Hiranyagarbha, Taijasa, and Pradna. Are you clear? So you can claim knowledge belongs to me, but you cannot claim knowing belongs to me. Knowing is consciousness, universal. The bulb can say light belongs to me, correct? But electricity, I cannot say it belongs to me. So universal illumination is there. That's called Taijasa, Pradna, Hiranyagarbha. Taijasa, Pradna, Vaishwanara. Specific thing getting illuminated is called knower, is Jiva. But the knower doesn't know. My knowing principle, knowing ability is coming from the consciousness. The consciousness is universal. Is the distinction between individual and universal clear? We are mixing up personal with universal. If light says, I am only giving light, no doubt light can give light. Bulb says, I am only giving light. No doubt bulb can give light with electricity. You cannot forget electricity. But electricity is universal. When the bulb says, I am giving light, perfect. But you cannot ignore electricity, which is universal. Right now, what we are doing is, I know something, I don't know something, I am experiencing something. Perfect, personal. But the universal component of that is consciousness. Pradna, Taijasa, Hiranyagarbha. Pradna, Taijasa, and Vaishwanara. There's an aspect of personal and there's an aspect of universal. But personal is claiming that universal belongs to me, which is false. Knowledge is, I have knowledge and ignorance, that's correct. But knowledge and ignorance requires knowing, which is not yours. This is consciousness, universal. Okay. So now, with that background, we spoke of deep sleep state. Deep sleep state, we said, yesterday I explained, yatra supto na kanchana kamayati. That shloka meaning I gave. Now next shloka we are going. Next shloka is Yesha Sarveshwaraha, Yesha Sarvatnaha, Yesho Antaryamihi, Yesha Yonihi, Sarvasya Prabhavapi, Ayohi Bhutan. Okay. So this is an important shloka. In deep sleep state, there is no individuality to you. You are claiming individuality, waking state and dream state. You are claiming a personal I, which is changing in the waking state, dream state. What happened to your personal I in the waking dream, deep sleep state? In deep sleep state, I am not different from you. You are not different from an animal. which is sleeping. All beings in the deep sleep state are in a uniform state. There's no personality from the perspective of the sleeper. From your perspective, somebody is sleeping outside. Body is you are seeing. But experience-wise, there's no individuality. Your individuality is gone. Right? So that individuality is gone because now you are sleeping as Sarveshwara. You are one with Ishvara, the Lord. You are the Ishvara now because your individuality is gone. The wave appears to be separate from water. The wave is not separate from water. The wave is one with water. Similarly, your individuality is no longer individual in the deep sleep. It's called Sarveshwara. But earlier I told you about Pradna, right? I told you about Pradna. Now I'm telling you Sarveshwara. So Pradna is collective knower, collective covert knower, collective potential knower. Deva. Ishvara is the totality. Ishvara is the totality. Totality of what? The entire universe. In the case of knower, there's a knower and known separation is there. Knower and known separation is there. In case of the knower. If there's ignorance, there's a separation between knower and known. Right? So that separation we are assuming initially. Where we are assuming in Pradna, Taijasa, and Vaishwanara, we are saying there is a separation because of Jiva, ignorance. Right? But in Ishvara, there is no separation. There's no, you cannot separate out where is the world, where is a monkey sleeping, where is a donkey sleeping, where you are sleeping, where I am sleeping. The sleeper consciousness is uniform, Pradnana Ganaha. Where? In Pradna. Pradna is knower. But now, Mandukya is saying one step. Yesha Sarveshwara, he is the Ishvara. What we call as Lord. When you worship Lord, he is the Ishvara. Who? In deep sleep, whatever totality is there is Ishvara. Right? Now we are not speaking of knower. Totality. Knower and known, all included. So, Pradna is cosmic covert knower, cosmic covert experiencer. Ishvara is not an experiencer. Ishvara is the totality, experiences himself in the form of bliss. Pradna is included in Ishvara. That's what I'm trying to tell you. See, in totality, there's knower and known division. Totality, knower, known division is made. The knower part is called Deva. Because we are trying to remove the ignorance of Jiva, who is a knower. So that's why we are taking universal knower, Deva. Then we are saying total universe is there, which is Ishvara. Totality. Correct. So now, Atma associated, Pratyagatma associated with the collective sleeper body is called Pradna. Pratyagatma means my innermost self, is associated with the collective jivas in this deep sleep state. Collective sleeps, jivas. They have ignorance. No doubt they have ignorance. Because after a wake up, they'll get, but in ignorance, they have become, in ignorance, they are there in Pradna. But jivas don't have a distinction between the me and the world, body and the world. Nothing is there. No distinction is there. So all jivas have become one in the Ishvara, totality. So that's why Esha Sarveshwaraha. He is the knower of all living beings. Esha Sarvadnaha. Sarveshwara means omniscient. Sarveshwara means Lord of all. Okay. So in deep sleep, you have merged or you have become one with Sarveshwara. You are not separate from Sarveshwara. You are one with the Ishvara in deep sleep. When you are worshipping God, my Lord, my God, please, please bless me. You are actually in deep sleep, you have become one. But in deep sleep, when you go, what thoughts will go? Morning you do puja. God bless me, Jnana, Vairagya, Bhakti. In deep sleep, when you go, I don't have Jnana, I don't have Vairagya, I am body. So when you go, really go to the Ishvara, you are taking when you are worshipping Ishvara who is separate from you, you are asking for a boon. In deep sleep, what thought process you are going? When you are really going to Ishvara? Are you? Are you? Are you? When you wake up morning, again, Jiva thought is coming up. So that's why you're not going, whatever thoughts you are going, thoughts will become reality. Are you going with the thought that I'm becoming one with Ishvara? So when deep sleep is very important state, many times when you go to sleep, whatever problems you have, the solution will appear in the morning. Many scientists, including Einstein, Kekulé, many of them, they try to break their head in the waking state. When you go to sleep, in the morning, they come out with a solution. The Kekulé is a scientist. He was trying to understand the atomic structure. So while going to many years he has struggled. Then one day he goes to sleep and he gets a dream of atomic structure, one snake swallowing its tail, ring structure. Because all jnana of the universe is in your deep sleep state, not your individual jnana. The entire knowledge of the universe is in the deep sleep state. Sarveshwara. The entire knowledge of creation is there in deep sleep state. You have to ask yourself. You have so much of sense of individuality, separation from the universe in the waking state. So that is the thought you are going. And when you go to the Ishvara with that thought gets strengthened. That's your blessing.
I'm accessing myself.
You are going with the thought of separation from Ishvara. The separation from Ishvara will be blessed in your dream state, deep sleep state. Deep sleep state, all universal conscious knowledge is available to you. Whether you are able to access it depends on what thought process you go into deep sleep. Okay, so deep sleep state, please understand, I keep on repeating many times, deep sleep is a very important state. You have to go to deep sleep, understanding that I am merging with Ishvara, I am becoming one with Ishvara. If you go with the sense of separation, the sense of separation will wake up. That's why I said, between Jnani and Adnani, the difference is, Adnani will go to a deep sleep state, either Samadhi or deep sleep state, with the understanding I am Brahman. Okay. So now, what kind of knowledge? Knowledge is the past, present, and future. What was there in the past? What is the present? What is the future? All knowledge is there in deep sleep state. The consciousness of deep sleep state is called Sarveshwara. So what is the meaning of Esha Sarveshwara? That Sarveshwara is nothing but Brahman, Ishvara. He is Nimitta Karana and Upadana Karana for the world. Nimitta Karana and Upadana Karana means world. A creation requires a creator, intelligent creator, and material. To make a mud pot, you need mud. Mud is called Upadana Karana, material cost. A pot maker is required, called efficient cost, intelligent person. So this is duality. Person is different from mud. But Ishvara is the mud and Ishvara is the maker. Both are one. And that Ishvara, daily you are meeting the Lord every day. You are merging with the Lord every day. And with what thought process you are going there? A Gnani goes with the thought process, I am Brahman. And in deep sleep, it will be blessed. He'll wake up with I am Brahman. I am Jiva, I am suffering. And morning you do a very nice puja and prayer. Who is separate from you? When you meet God, your prayer is different. When your God is separate, your prayer is different. Which God will bless you? When you meet God, the blessing is coming. What thought you are going in deep sleep, that thought becomes your reality. What kind of life you are leading, you'll see. Morning you pray, God bless me. So going to sleep, you'll curse Ishvara. Today whole day I suffered you because of you. And what Ishvara should bless? When you meet, when you merge with Ishvara in deep sleep, you are no longer individual, you are merged. So Adnana has also gone. Same way, Dnana has also gone. If Dnani goes with Ishvara saying that I am Brahman, that Dnana will also go with that. Causal form, Karana Rupa. Esha Sarvadnaha, the knowledge of the entire creation is there in that. Because when you wake up, the world is appearing. Prabhavaha Pralayas, what do you call it? Esha Antaryamihi, inner controller of all living beings. What is inner controller for you? We think that God is sitting outside and controlling everything like this, puppets. He is Antaryamin, he is controlling from inside, Ishvara. How? In the form of consciousness. Your waking state consciousness is control. Your dream state consciousness is control. Your deep sleep consciousness is control. The consciousness is Ishvara. It's universal. Universe of multiplicity is created by him. The deep sleep consciousness becomes the waker consciousness and dreamer consciousness. Deep sleep consciousness appears as a waker and dreamer. Waker world, waker world, dreamer and dreamer world. The split happens in the waking state, dream state. In deep sleep state, the split is gone. So Prabhavaha Appya, that means all beings emerge from him, emerge from deep sleep state and go back to deep sleep state. When every day you are coming from deep sleep state into waking, waker consciousness, waker world, waker jiva. Dreamer state, dream world, dreamer consciousness, dream world, and dreamer jiva. And again go back to deep sleep. The deep sleep is the substratum background all the time. And this, at the time of dissolution of the world is dissolved. Srashti Sthiti Pralaya. Srashti Sthiti Laya. Entire world is created. Entire world is maintained. Entire world is dissolved. So the dissolution happens into Ishvara. Whatever exactly deep sleep state you are experiencing, you'll go into that. The trillions of years living beings in deep sleep state in Ishvara. Then they wake up. So that state is responsible for that. From that state, Hiranyagarbha and Taijasa are emerging. The knowers. From deep sleep Ishvara, the totality of the Virat, the totality of Hiranyagarbha emerge and dissolve. The gross world and subtle world. The Ishvara is, Sarveshwara is one whom we meet, one who become one in deep sleep state. Did you know that? Pralaya, at the time of dissolution, before creation, what was there is deep sleep state. Scientists say Big Bang happened and the world came into picture. What happened before Big Bang? The world was, universe is on deep sleep state, Ishvara. Then Big Bang happened. The gross and subtle world came. The gross and subtle world is called Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika, Adhyatmika. At the individual level. Adi Bhautika means physical, Adi Daivika means subtle or astral, Adhyatmika means causal. All the worlds emerge and dissolve. Not only at the time of creation, every day in your world, your world emerges and goes back. In deep sleep, there's no individuality for you. But when you wake up, your body and the world appear together. So you think that I have a body and I was the body which slept. You are not the body which slept. The body and the world emerged from the deep sleep state. And what is totality emerged from the deep state is called waker consciousness. Hiranyagarbha. Then immediately you identify with the body and say, I am Jiva. Not Hiranyagarbha. Sorry, I am not Hiranyagarbha. Vaishwanara. See, we have a tendency to split the one reality into two, me and the world. Me, you are considered as body. The body and the world appear together in the waking state. It didn't appear separately. If the body is there, the body is there, but world is not there. The state doesn't come. World is there, body is not there. That doesn't come. The world and body appear together. That is called universal consciousness, universal knower. Who is that? Vaishwanara. It's not individual, personal. But immediately you split the personal into personal. Oh, I am the body. This ignorance. He is the knowing principle in all. Sarveshwaraha. Sarvatma. And he is a specific knower in the individual also. Specific knower in terms of Chidabhasa, reflected consciousness. In other words, there is nothing personal about you. So let us look at what we have learned. So Paramatma or absolute reality is shown is Satya. Absolute reality never changes. Okay. The one reality appears in the Vyavaharika or empirical level. Okay. As three: Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha, and Virat. Here I am speaking of totality. Totality includes living and non-living, both. Right? The conscious beings called Jivas and unconscious Jada, both included in the totality. So the totality is given three names. Ishvara in deep sleep, equivalent of deep sleep, Taijasa equivalent of dream, and Hiranyagarbha in deep, equivalent of deep sleep, dream, and Virat in terms of waking. The Virat is small portion. Hiranyagarbha is slightly larger. Taijasa, Ishvara is bigger. But all are appearance of Paramarthika Satya, appearances. They are still, all of these are Mithya, appearance only. Okay. So from Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha and Vishwa, what you call as Virat emerge. And they dissolve back into Ishvara, in the pranayama. Okay. So now we are speaking of three names. There's only one Atma. That Atma is Paramatma. Okay. It is associated with the causal body, is called Jivatma. Your causal body, individual. As a cosmic consciousness, Atma associated with the total causal world, which includes living and non-living. Causal world includes living and non-living. Right? Here, living and non-living is called Ishvara. Here, individual causal body. The same there is a same thing for we are taking up the knower, cosmic knower. Okay. Cosmic covert knower, because it's a potential knower. It's called Pradna Deva. Totality of all jivas in deep sleep. Associated with the totality of all causal bodies in jiva. So, if I take, this is about knower, subject, whereas subject and object both are taken to, it's called totality. That's called Ishvara. Atma associated with subtle body is called Jivatma, my individual subtle body. Atma is associated with total subtle body, totality of jivas in the dream state is called Taijasa Deva, not individual. Consciousness associated with that. Atma associated with gross body is called Jivatma, is a cosmic extrovert knower, total cosmic extrovert knower, totality of all jivas is called Vaishwanara Deva. Atma associated with the totality of gross world, which includes Jiva and living and non-living, is called Virat. It's a living plus non-living. So now what happens to you? We have a sense of individuality. I am the experiencer, I am the knower, I am the thinker, I am sufferer. You understand when you are referring to I am, you are referring to a consciousness which is universal, not individual, personal. So my body is the totality of bodies, is my body is a part of the totality of body which is animated by consciousness called Vaishwanara. I am a dreamer. My dream is totality of dream world animated by Taijasa. I am a sleeper. My sleep is totality of sleep world animated by Prabna. So no longer we can think in terms of individuality, because individual, what we call as individual body is inert. It's animated by consciousness. Consciousness is not personal. So then what happens? What happens to Jiva? Jiva has a sense of individuality. Is it real? Not real. The experience is universal. In that Jiva gathers impressions. Outside rain is happening. Rain is there. Rain is common to all. Somebody says, what a beautiful rain. His impression is beautiful impression. Somebody says, it's a bad day. Impression is bad day. Jiva gathers impressions. These impressions, what Jiva gathers, becomes the karma, material for experience of Jiva. It's called Jiva Srishti. Vaishwanara, Hiranyagarbha or Taijasa, referring to Ishvara Srishti, universal consciousness. A Jiva within ignorance gets the experience, and that experience becomes a material. Impressions and experience becomes material for Jiva to form. That's called Prabha Karma. So is universal and individual concept is clear? Any confusions? The totality of universal is called Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha and Virat. The totality. Totality is living and non-living. But if you split the living and non-living into two, living and suffering from non-living, all living beings we consider as knowers. Covert knower, overt knower, introvert knower. The covert knower is called Pradna, introvert knower is called Taijasa, and the extrovert knower is called Vaishwanara. Okay. All activities are universal in nature. All knowing is universal in nature. All experience are universal in nature. There is no sense of individuality or personality at all. The Jiva has a sense of individuality. It's my body. I am. The sense of individuality is totally false. Jiva individuality is not real at all, because the experiencing consciousness is universal. The knower consciousness is universal, not individual. But because of your sense of individuality, you gather impressions. Once you start losing the sense of individuality, you become one with the universe. That one becoming one with the universe is happening in deep sleep also. But what impressions you gather in the waking state, dream state make a difference. The impressions we gather based on our knowledge, jnana, adnana, ignorance, that we go with that deep sleep, to the deep sleep. And come back with that. Ishvara doesn't modify. Oh, my dear child, you are ignorance in waking state. Let me modify your ignorance in dream state. No, deep sleep state. No. What ignorance you go, you go. Ishvara will come to modify your ignorance only in the form of Guru when you seek it. So Deva concept is brought in to give a collective Jiva. Are you getting what I'm saying? Our world has brought this split into Jiva and Jada. Jiva and Jada together is called totality. That totality is given three names: Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha, Virat. Okay. If you take only Jiva part, conscious being part, then the name is given is Prajna, Taijasa, and then Vaishwanara. And they are called knowers because knower is the one who is having ignorance. Ignorance has to be removed for knower. Knower, when he associates does some work through body, he becomes I am the doer. Knower becomes the doer. Ignorance is for knower. Body, I am not the body, he doesn't know. When he associates the mind, experience something in the mind, he says I am the mind. He becomes the mind. The knower has the ignorance of becoming the body and mind, the doer and enjoyer. And finally, the knowership has to be removed. I am the knower also has to be removed. Because subject and object is only one. I am Atma, Brahma. Pratyekatma is universal. So if Pratyekatma, knower and known is one, there's nothing to know. In Pradna, there was nothing to know because instruments are not there. Instrument of body, mind, the mind and mind were dormant condition. Pradna is in deep sleep. In the waking state, it gets body and mind. Hiranyagarbha, Vaishwanara experience the extroverted knower. Okay. In all the states, our Pratyekatma is same. It doesn't change. They are super important Pratyekatma. But still I have knowledge that Pratyekatma is my personal self. Who? Waker. No, dear sir, Pratyekatma is not yourself. Pratyekatma is Ishvara, universal. That Ishvara, Pratyekatma is Brahman, the totality. It's nothing personal about you. When business, two people, friends fight now, and say it's not personal about, nothing personal about us. It's a business. Right? In service activity you do. There may be some fight, but it's nothing personal about it. It's about service activity. Like that, everything in the universe is universal, nothing personal about it. The personal, through the body and mind. I give the example, electricity. I give the example, electricity goes through all the bulb number 1, bulb number 2, fan.
So when it comes to the knower, is what I'm saying.
That's
this bulb knows about this room, the other bulb knows about
no, that you think over what I said correctly. The knowing is not, the electricity doesn't belong to the universal. So now the knower is also, the knower is this guy, the Jiva is a constantly changing entity. Jiva is constantly changing. You know that? Your body is changing, mind is changing, intellect is changing. But he is claiming that I am the knower, not because of changing. Something which doesn't change, that he is claiming as mine. You'll think over what I said. Okay, I'll answer the question when I come there. Anybody has a question? So is that clear? Anybody on the Zoom session has a question? Okay, chat some has question. Who is the question? Chat, nobody.
everybody.
What is the question? Your question? Now repeat. Now, if nobody has question on Zoom, I'll ask your question. Wait. First, give preference to Zoom. Zoom. Vasu, Deepthi, anybody has a question? Yes, Nashimurthy, please go ahead.
Hari Om. Sastanga Namaskar, Prabhuji.
Namaskar, Henry.
Prabhuji, between existence of adhyasa is because of ignorance, and effect of adhyasa is error.
Okay.
So, having this in place, what is the difference between prajna and turiya?
Turiya we have not come. Turiya we have not touched. Turiya is next 5 slokas.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So Turiya, see, please understand.
Yeah.
Atma associated with the causal world, causal body, causal mind is called Jiva.
Okay.
Right? Atma associated with the total causal world, total causal jivas, total causal bodies of jivas, total subtle body of jivas, and total gross bodies of jiva is called Prajna, Taijasa, and Vaishwanara.
Okay.
Right? So have you become Turiya so far?
No.
Turiya is yet to come.
Okay.
Okay. Atma not associated with anything is called Turiya.
Okay.
Right? Atma associated with these 3. When I say associated, superimposition is happening. It's called Atma, Prajna, Taijasa, and Vaishwanara.
Okay.
But in these 3 states, waker, dreamer, and deep sleep, there's still an ignorance. The knower and known difference is there.
Okay.
Who has the difference, knower and known? Pratyekatma has that.
Okay.
So Pratyekatma is the knower. Pratyekatma is not a knower, not an enjoyer, not a doer.
Okay.
But I have ignorance. Waker has ignorance.
Okay.
Right? I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, I am the knower. Because there is something to enjoy for me. The known is there.
Okay.
So the knower-known difference is removed by saying the Pratyekatma is Brahman.
Okay.
So the knower-known is gone now. Knower-known is gone into knowing.
Okay.
That knowing principle, which is not associated with knower and known, is a pure knowing. Okay. Which has no association with anything. Anatma is called Turiyatma.
Okay.
So as long as you are ignorance is called Pratyekatma.
Okay.
Right? Ignorance is there. Personal I is there.
Okay.
So the ignorance is gone. Impersonal I becomes Deva.
Okay.
I which is not associated with anything, absolute I becomes Turiya.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So now, anybody else any questions?
So have one more question, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
For jnana or ajnana to exist, there should be a subject and the place.
Correct.
So jnana or ajnana is about a subject and it should present in some place. So in our case, the adhyasa is happening in chitta. Is that right, Prabhuji?
See, jnana or adnana to impose, like you are saying, to see a snake, a rope is required, you are saying.
Yes.
Some basis is required, you are saying, right?
Yes, exactly.
That basis is your concept of I. All living beings have a concept of I.
Yes.
Okay, concept of I is the basis on which every superimposition happening. Because we have not explored what is the real concept, real I.
Okay.
If concept is causing the concept is where superimposition is happening, concept after concept.
Okay. Nested.
So real concept, if you explore, the real concept, there is pure I, which is not manifest, which is Turiya.
Okay.
Does it answer your question?
So the place, subject I got it, Prabhuji. The place, I mean, ashraya. that part is little
Ashraya, the ashraya is nothing but your concept of I.
okay. Ahankara and chitta both.
No, ahankara and chitta also is coming based on the subjective, intuitive concept of I exist.
Okay, okay, got it.
All of us have an intuitive concept of I exist now.
Correct, Prabhuji.
So that I exist is being superimposed.
Okay, got it, Prabhuji.
I exist is nothing but pure existence objectified.
Yeah, got it, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thank you.
Fine. Vasu, any questions? Deepti, Purnima?
No questions, Prabhuji. Actually, you have to just look at some more manana of what was discussed today, especially on the knowledge is individual and knower is universal. I need to get a little more.
No.
Narrative.
Knower is individual. Knowing is universal.
Okay.
Knower has knowledge and ignorance. Knowing has no knowledge and ignorance.
Okay. Now it is clear. Yes.
Okay. So let us come to Purnima. Purnima, why don't you ask your question directly instead of through Gayatri?
Okay. So first of all, now the difference between Vishwa, Vaishwanara, Hiranyagarbha, Prajna, and Ishvara, and this one, Taijasa, Prajna, all these terms, now it's become very, very clear now.
Right.
So this Pratyagatma, every time it is being uttered, individual, it is not actually individual, it is universal and all that. So what is the difference between Chidabhasa and Pratyagatma?
So let me ask you, who are you? Who are you?
Pratyagatma.
See, you have a sense of I, right? Some sense of I.
Yeah.
So sense of I exists in deep sleep state, waking state, dream state, sense of I.
Yes.
So in the waking state, you confuse with their body and mind.
Yes.
In this dream state, you confuse the dream body and dream mind. But sense of I is same now. In the sense of I, it gets attached something, right?
Yeah.
So that attached one is coming because of Chidabhasa.
Okay.
Right? In the deep sleep state, waking state, dream state, there is some sense of I, which is personal I.
Yes.
What is that we can't define now? Some undefined sense of personal I is there. Correct? That's called Pratyagatma.
Yes.
Right? So that seems to be not changing because whenever you say something, I went there, I came here, I doesn't seem to be changing. There's a sense of I which doesn't change.
Right.
Correct now?
Yes.
So that's personal to you now. It's not my I you are claiming, no. It's your personal life you are claiming, no? I went there, I came here, correct. I am going, right?
Yes.
Okay, that I is not changing.
Correct.
Okay, that I which is very personal and intimate to you is called Pratyagatma.
Right.
Okay, now the Upanishad is pointing out you have a sense of self for you. All right, everybody has a sense of self. Now that sense of self, Pratyagatma in me, Pratyagatma in you, Pratyagatma in Gayatri, Pratyagatma in somebody, it is not personal. First understanding you have to have.
Correct. Understood.
Okay. When it's not personal, it's impersonal.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the personality is getting attached to the Pratyagatma in the waking state. So Purnima is becoming a woman's body. You dress and say, I am woman, I am Purnima, I am a journalist. So the Pratyagatma is personalized by you in the waking state. By waking body.
Correct.
Waking body is inert, jada.
Right. Yeah.
So the jada is got animated by your Pratyagatma.
Okay.
Now that animation is called Chidabhasa.
Wait.
You are not. See, you have to listen carefully when I say something. Every time I say, I bring some subtle concept. You keep on holding all the concept, you will lose something. So in the waking state, the consciousness spreads in the body. Waker body. Is it true?
Yes.
So what is the consciousness which is spreading in the waker body?
Chidabhasa.
Reflected consciousness.
Correct.
Is reflected consciousness animating your waker body?
Yes.
So where is that reflected consciousness coming from?
From the source.
Pratyekatma.
Pratyekatma. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay.
So now you claim I am Purnima. I am a woman. Okay.
Right.
You claim I am smart. Definitely. So Pratyekatma is neither smart nor a woman.
Mm.
Pratyekatma is none of this. In the
Okay.
waking state, you are a journalist, you are a woman, you are a mother. The Pratyekatma is none of this.
Yes. 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 Got it.
So who is claiming this? Who is making the claim? The body associated with Chidabhasa, which is called Jiva, is making a claim. Correct?
Correct.
The claim is done by animated body. Body is animated by Chidabhasa.
Right.
Right? Animation principle. Chidabhasa cannot make a claim. Chidabhasa with the body together makes a claim. It is no independence.
Correct.
Correct? But Chidabhasa does not know I came from Pratyekatma.
Chidabhasa doesn't know I came from Pratyekatma. Okay.
Right? So it is almost forgotten Pratyekatma.
Hmm.
Pratyekatma is not a doer, not an enjoyer, not a knower.
Correct.
Now you are suddenly become a knower, enjoyer, and doer. Who is doing this? Jiva.
Jiva.
So always you are not a Jiva, you are a Jivatma. It's a combination package. Jiva cannot exist without Atma.
Correct.
So you are a Jivatma.
Right.
But Jiva ignores your Atma. Jiva focus on the body and mind, which is a material nature.
Yes.
And says, I am that.
Correct.
Okay, the Jiva is in reality Pratyekatma. It is merged with in deep sleep, it's already merged. It's not that. It's not a knower, not an enjoyer, not a doer.
Correct.
But it falsely claims I have the knower, doer, and enjoyer in the waking state.
Right.
There also, you are still a sense of individuality.
Yeah.
Without knowing that individual body, what you are claiming, the doership you are claiming for the body, all the activities of body of all living beings in the universe is managed by a consciousness called Vaishwanara. It's not your personal activity.
That is clear.
Okay.
Sorry.
So now what is personal about you? Tell me. Impression. The knower is also with the impression that I am an individual body. The universal knowership is forgotten. Arre Papa, a lamp is kept in a glass, in a pot with the holes. There are holes in this. There's a lamp kept. The light is coming out. The light appears to be small rays. Okay. The lamp has no rays. Lamp is appearing through. So through your body, mind, and intellect, whatever Atma Jyoti is lighting up, that you call as knowledge. Small pieces. Object knowledge. Forgetting the source. Forgetting the light, Atma Jyoti. Atma Jyoti, the light is flowing in your body, animating your body, called Chidabhasa. It is flowing through the sense organs and illuminating the world. Bahir Jyoti. So now it illuminates objects. So that you call as knowledge. But when you see an object, that objective knowledge is not really object. It's a reflected light you are seeing. Okay, let me give you the example. Okay. So when you see my hand, what are you really seeing? The light is reflected on my hand. Are you seeing my hand or reflected light on the hand? When you see an object, are you seeing an object or reflected light, consciousness light on the object? Chidabhasa you are seeing as a reflected light. So now, is there a hand and light? Are there two things? In consciousness, there's no duality. So what you are calling as hand, or you are calling as object, is nothing but nama, rupa, name and form. So name and form illuminated by Chidabhasa or reflect light, you are seeing. Actually, you are seeing reflected light, which is nothing but original light falling on that. Why knower is individual? I'm trying to tell you. Knower has an impression of individuality. There's no real individuality, I'm trying to tell you. Because you're not understood the no. No.
That's good.
So, see, your question is, if I know the impression of individuality, other room, what's happening, I should know. Then there's no other room. It's totality. There's nothing to know. There's nothing to know in totality. That's what is meaning of Ishvara. When you are the totality, there's nothing for you to know. Knower, known, knowledge has become one. See, what you are speaking of is, I should know in some other room, is a mind. It's actually what we call as siddhi. Still, the illusion of mind is there. When the illusion of mind goes, the knower, known knowledge, I am Atma, Brahma. Atma is Brahman, totality. There is nothing to know. That's called Turi Atma. So when you say, now so far I'm telling you, there's nothing called mind. That mind is an illusion. You have to understand in the context of what I'm trying to tell. Hiranyagarbha, your body is not your body. The body is provided in the universal consciousness. The body and world appear together. Then what is your my body? Okay. So then some experience is happening, some activity is happening in all the bodies, not your individual body. Your heart only is beating, my heart is not beating. No, it's all happening universally. So universal functioning is happening through all the bodies. Okay. So the universal functioning is happening through all the bodies. Through all the bodies, there's a knowing principle. Universal. And knowledge is happening through all the bodies. It's not my knowledge. My personalized knowledge is not there. One universal consciousness through many bodies experience the universe in different ways. The knower, there's nobody called knower. Because the one, what you call as yourself right now, is a Jiva, body and mind. Half an hour body back, that was different, body and mind. It is changing. That's coming because you don't do the inquiry. Really, reality or not inquiry. Why the snake is appearing on the rope? Because you don't ask what is a rope or snake. So now sense of individuality, sense of constant knower is there, is because of the background which is knowing principle, which is constant. Pratyekatma. Okay, that is getting superimposed. Like movie character, screen character, movie character. I am saying I am a hero. I am a hero. I have been there. That hero doesn't have existence because of he's a hero has existed because of screen. He's ignoring the screen and saying, I'm hero, I'm there. You are deriving a sense of continuity, not because you are continuous, but because of the background which is continuous. And the background is, the background, continuous background is experienced through the body and mind. And that's getting recorded as memory, chitta, impression. That chitta or impression is going into causal state in the Ishvara, getting played again. You are getting a sense of your continuity, not in this moment, because of your accumulated memory. The accumulated memory is backed up in Ishvara, in the causal condition, and comes up. Your ignorance is, as long as you have ignorance.
Pranam Gurudeva.
Yes.
This theory, when you say, it reminds me of my bio class, where the topic is of self-regeneration. So always the regeneration happens because of the existence of something. So we feel the complete body because there is again a memory and it is getting. So now we come when in this Adhyatmic class we get the terminology of memory, and in biology class it was the cell regeneration. Again, always there was always one seed through which it was growing. And now when you said it is nothing personal, it is all impersonal, then I realized that when you say that we are actually living always what I say, I, me, doing, eating, anything, I mean whatever word is coming out, it is all related only and only to personality.
Conceptually, personality. Conceptual, not real personality.
Yeah, only personality is what we are attracting, we are imagining, and we are creating and thinking in any form of word.
And
But
all your memory
otherwise-
records are based. All your memory records are based on your whatever assuming yourself.
Yeah, but otherwise it is none of this is there. It is just total zero. It is just multiplied by zero. Actually, it is impersonal. It is only the continuity of the background, because of which it is only a appearance. And appearance is something that we have just collected, and we have not. We having a
There's
stored
no
data of
we.
it.
There's no we.
Yeah, that we itself is a memory, just a collection. So even
There's
to
no
speak
we.
anything, it will be like that.
There's no we. There's no I.
There is no we. There is no I.
So there appears to be. There appears to be I.
Yeah. There is one line, Sutna kapas julahe lattham latha. Means there is no suit, there is no kapas, but still the weavers are just fighting for the whole thing.
Right. See, the approach of Mandukya Karika, you have to understand very, very step by step. I am feeling a sense of individuality, Jiva, Jivahood. So Jivahood is removed by the concept called Devahood, totality. You are not the only guy who is hungry. Universally, everybody is hungry. That's because of consciousness. Hunger is common.
Yes.
Okay, you are eating. No, not only you are eating. You seem to be individually eating, but it's a universal consciousness which is eating through many bodies.
Yes.
So that way, Jivahood is removed to Devahood.
Yes.
So Devahood is removed. By making understanding, there is Deva, Jiva, and Deva. Collective Jiva and collective objective world, they are not separate. They are one reality, totality. In totality, there's no experience and experienced. One reality.
It's
That's
very
called
beautiful. It's very beautiful, because this one limited body cannot, it has to burst out into the cosmos to experience that totality. It cannot be limited in
It
this
doesn't
one body
have to
itself.
burst out anything. It's already there. You have to burst out your ignorance.
Yes, yes, correct.
Nothing else has to burst out. Kidney, liver, nothing has to burst out. Only ignorance has to burst out.
Obviously, the physicality appears as an appearance.
Physical bursting out, mental bursting out. Ignorance has to
mental
burst out by
bursting.
inquiring properly.
Mental diarrhea. Yeah.
Now, if you ask why I have individuality, that individuality is there because you never inquired what is real I. That's only giving sense of individuality and individual personhood.
Yes. The whole of this teaching is actually just to bring oneself that that one subtle moment, if we just get to inquire with our own self that who am I, we don't bother for that point, and we bother for everything else.
Who is
like
we?
my person, only one I. This is only one I. I'm just thinking related to this one ignorant self that used to always relate to every other thing, but except for this, who am I? I will beat around the whole bush, but never try to pluck this one flower.
We are always sure of who am I. I am smart, I am intelligent, I am beautiful. We are always sure of that. But we are not
gives
sure of
a lot
real
of comfort zone. Na? It makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Thank you. Hari Om. Thank you
Hari
so
Om.
much.
So, shall we close the discussion? At 11:45, we'll have Kannada session. There's no class on Monday and Wednesday. Next class on next Friday.